There are moments where I'm not being disrespectful. I'm really just trying to understand. And because it's not very like a stoic conversation that's happening, honestly, my first thoughts is gonna be some thug shit. I'm thinking in my head the most craziest things sometimes, and I'm like, I don't want to cuss you out right now because I am overly emotional, and I've learned to regulate myself. I do need a quiet period.
You can control your facial expressions. You just don't want to. You prefer passive aggressive versus being like loud. Cool, I get it, I dig it, but
Don't
you
want.
can control it.
So we can't
How you
raise
supposed
our
to?
voice. We
Yeah.
can't curse. We can't say things to hurt your feelings. We can't have facial expressions apparently.
So
So
no, you can't
what
be a
can we
person.
do?
You can express
Because
You
yourself
can
with your
we
cry.
words.
still have
You can
feelings
cry.
and
That's the only thing you're
emotions.
allowed to do.
We
I
we
think
definitely adapted to horrible communication in general. And I think the correlation between being able to have restriction and self control in the workspace is what they're saying. Because if we're being honest, most people aren't having healthy arguments. They're not, and when I say that, they're calling each other out of their names. They're using things that they use in a vulnerable space to hurt this person now in this conversation that has nothing to do with what you're even upset with right now. I don't think it's a matter of just being emotional. It's we have how many stories of women putting their hands on men during these disagreements and arguments. Like that's more so we're speaking of where it's like you don't go around swinging, like you don't go around hitting people at school as a kid. If we're going to use the same example, you can't go around hitting kids at school. Why is it okay now to come home and hit each other? You know what I'm saying? So it's I think it's like a level of like, and I get it because I've had this like level of like skirting even myself because I'm a very expressive person. I'm never gonna call you out your name and put my hands on you, but I can get a little bit like the faces sometimes is what's gonna get me. The if you find faces disrespectful, you're gonna find me disrespectful. So I think there's also like there's a limit where yes there is clear disrespect, but there are moments where I think that's kind of what we're getting towards. Like there are moments where I'm not being disrespectful, I'm really just trying to understand. And because it's not very like a stoic conversation that's happening, it's now you're being over emotional, and then it ends up being an attack on me feeling something as I'm trying to express myself, which is where you had asked earlier, Willie, about the silent treatment. I've been guilty of that silent treatment because honestly, my first thoughts is gonna be some thug shit. I'm thinking in my head the most craziest things sometimes, and I'm like, I don't want to cuss you out right now because I am overly emotional, and I've learned to regulate myself. I do need a quiet period. I haven't quite evolved to the hey, I can't express myself right now, so I'm still working on that personally. So because it does skirt this line of if I do express myself while I'm in the emotion, it will come off as disrespect, regardless of how I'm trying to not disrespect you in
So
that
Miss
very
Mac,
moment. Mm.
go ahead.
I
Oh,
think
go ahead.
sometimes too, Miss Mac, could it be what men when men are asking is when it comes to disrespect? Does everybody know? Because maybe men might feel certain things are disrespectful, right? When we're trying to voice ourselves, and we think we're voicing ourselves, but it's not always what we say. It's like you said, it's how we said it. Because if you say like how you just said, whatever that statement would have come out, right? Whatever you would have said, nah, 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 you know what I mean? I feel like that could be sometimes come off as, that a man would probably say is disrespectful, whereas you may think, or us as women, we may think we're just trying to get
Well,
our points across.
this is also where alignment comes into play, right? So, like me, I this go always goes back to the individual person. I know I don't do good with aggressive people, like the people that gotta rah rah and get all like I don't do well with that because that's not even where I want to go. I don't like to get there because I'm gonna take it to hell. I know me enough to know I can't be around somebody that's ready to just fuss and yell all the time. I need someone who can sit and have a conversation and even have a quiet period so we can actually think and then come back to it and have a level of a conversation. And so this is knowing who you're dealing with. Again, I'm a person where I kind of put that early out there. If faces bother you, if me being physically expressive, my face is going to bother your ego, walk away now. Walk away now. I know me
Okay, because
enough
you
to
did
know
say
what
at
I
one
what
time,
I'm willing to work on is I won't say like I won't call you out your name. You ain't gonna have no bitch ass nigga, nothing like that out of my mouth. I've never said that. No, that's not how I talk. So you don't have to worry about that, but you may have to worry about me making some faces or rolling my eyes when you're saying something that might sound crazy to me in that moment.
I
So,
think
Oh
you
my
understand?
God.
Hey, real quick,
which is disrespectful too.
can you tell me what like some thug shit would be? Because I feel like if you get mad at a nigga, you're gonna be like,
Shut your bitch ass up.
I feel like that's what's coming.
I was thinking
Anytime
the
I
same
get
thing,
Listen.
Willie. She said,
In the deep depths of sometimes depending on the situation, my soul, that's the thought process, and then I just say, okay, I'm upset, I'm angry. Why am I angry? Why am I upset? Where that's even a thought that even came to my spirit for a second. And I do understand with real dope saying about rolling eyes can be disrespectful. I definitely understand that. I've been told that. Um and it's something where I feel like the reasons why I end up rolling my eyes, they were honestly valid because I'm not gonna roll my eyes if something doesn't sound insane to me as well. So
Are you
I
one
get
of
what
Are
you're
you
saying
one of
for
those?
sure. But I also have my own way of processing, I guess. And I guess I don't know how to change that or if I want to change that in me, if I'm being honest.
Are you one of those women who say things like, oh, I can't control my face if I feel a certain way. I'm just going, it's just how it's how my face gonna be. Are you one of those
I'm
women?
I'm
He looks
I'm I'm
guilty.
I'm, I'm a
What's wrong with
very
that?
yeah. I'm
But
in that I wouldn't
Right.
necessarily
What's
always
wrong
say
with
that,
yeah.
but
that?
yeah, I've said that before. I've said that before.
Well,
Yeah.
but
that's just the lack of self control. It's like, and
Hmm.
it's one that you accept. It's like, yo, I don't want to fix it. My face is gonna be how my face is. Like for
Wait,
me,
yeah, I
my
was getting
face.
ready to say the same. I was getting ready to say the
Yeah.
same thing. I feel like when you're, if you know that there's certain things, I just feel like that's like work you got to put into. Like if you know that you can't handle disagreement properly, and you lash out and this is not just for you, but I'm just saying if you lash out, then then I mean it's I guess alignment. Like you shouldn't really be in a relationship. You know what? I can't. I just I'm just thinking of myself like in my long 12-year relationship, my engagement, like I've never ever yelled. I've never ever like if we didn't agree on something, I'm gonna speak it. I mean, I just can't imagine like I've seen it before, people like yelling at the person, degrading, or you have attitude and you walk. I can't see it.
Hmm.
I think that's just something hard for me to understand
I think
that
women
in a
and men.
relationship. I'm sorry, True.
I think women and men review things just a little bit differently. We always do, right? And so for a woman to say that her expression is written over her face and she will prefer to express that way than to lash out and say things that would be disrespectful, like to call you out your name, to get loud, to start cursing, all those different things is what we look at as disrespect. But then it's like, darn if you do, darn if you don't. You're still disrespectful if you roll your eyes, or if you look crazy, or if you look down. And it's like, so I've always been an expressional person. Like my son was 2 years old in daycare, and they said, "Do you be making faces with him? Because he always make
but
faces when we feed him." Like that's just always been me. I've always been an expression, like expressive person. But to say, and that's probably what got me in trouble in my marriage, now that I think about it, because I
right. I was
wasn't
about
a
to say that.
verbal person. I didn't curse. I didn't, say things that was to just try to get under his skin or push buttons or hurt his feelings. Like that's just not me. I'm not a tit for tat. I don't ever like to argue. So for me, I'll just, be quiet. And yeah, my face may be like, oh my gosh, like I gotta go through this again, and
But Paris,
so
is that
So
I
okay
so
guess
though?
I get in
basically,
trouble for that.
You know
so
what I'm saying?
basically,
Is
you
that okay?
prefer
Well,
Is that
you
apparently,
okay?
prefer
apparently not. Darn if you do, darn if you don't.
no. So
Like, I mean,
so
rather for
darn
me
if
to
we do,
just
darn if we
curse
don't.
you out, go there, take it there,
Yeah.
argue.
Don't darn if
Right.
we do,
I'm
darn if
I'm
we don't.
using the
Hold
less
on. Don't,
passive way. I'm still a human. I'm still human being. I still have emotions. So for me to be able to, because as a man, you can express your emotions and it could come off a little, aggressive to me. You could raise your tone and it could be loud. And I'm not going to say lower your tone, but you can express that way and it's totally okay. I
Who said you
can't.
couldn't do that?
So for me, my expression is my face. Like I may just be in my thought or
So
be like, oh
so
my gosh, but
so
I'll still get in trouble.
so
So wait,
doing
who
if we
said
do,
you couldn't
doing if we
express yourself?
hold on, Willie. Hold on. It's doing if we do, doing if we don't is an excuse, right? It's to say that, oh, it's to go from one extreme to the other. No, it's a middle. There's a middle, right? There's a middle inside of there. Like you can control your facial expressions. You just don't want to. You prefer passive aggressive versus being like loud. Cool, I get it, I dig it,
Don't
but
know.
you can control it. And it's like, for example, like your kid can't look at you however they want to after you tell them to do something because they can't look at you however because it's disrespectful. Like you can
The
control
first
your
thing you
face.
say is fix your face.
Yeah,
I
fix
don't
your
think
face. We heard that.
So if you
Growing
make
up.
me
But we
happy,
always
and wait,
equate
if
in
you make me
adults as
happy,
kids.
if if
Well,
you make
when
me
it-
happy and make me
uh-huh.
smile, that's okay for my face to be expressive. But the moment you say something that makes my face frown up is now disrespect. I think that's also over.
I can answer that. I can answer
Okay.
that. It depends. It depends, right? Because we're adults, right? And we got to be reasonable. We got to be We got to be sensible and reason. We got to be reasonable and sensible, right? There are certain things, right? For example, if I got a food, if you see me eating my food and you find my food to be disgusting and you have a reaction of like, ugh, no, your parents tell you not to do that. Don't do that. Control your face when you're somebody's eating food. You don't yuck somebody's yum, right? That's what they say. Like you
So
can control your face, and there are some.
so
Yeah, go ahead.
how do we supposed to react? So we can't
How you
raise
supposed to
our
react?
voice, we
Yeah.
can't curse, we can't say things to hurt your feelings, we can't have facial expressions apparently.
So
So
no, you can't
what
be a shitty
can
person.
we do?
You can express
Because we
yourself with your
because we
words.
still have
You can
feelings
cry.
and
That's the only thing you're
emotions.
allowed to do.
They
You
don't
can
even care
express
about
yourself
that.
with your
My husband
words.
used to tell me that
No,
ain't nothing. They
Exactly.
don't care about that.
Say that
Exactly.
now.
express.
Now,
You
now,
can.
say you can express
Exactly.
yourself with your words, but not do anything with your face. Like anything
Thank you.
like. Let's be realistic here. Like,
There
come
are
on.
things you can
Everybody
do with
on
your
here has
face.
made a face while they were speaking, listening. Everyone on here has made some kind of a face in
But we
some way,
don't make
shape, or
these
Even
form.
hand
faces with our.
gestures.
So what
I
are we talking
agree.
Like you're
about?
Yes,
talking
So
and
thank
you're
you.
expressing
what are
For
we
yourself with
talking
your
example,
about
hands.
now?
Like
Come
these
on.
are
Come
forms of
the
on.
faces that
Come
I
expression.
make with y'all
on.
are
Come
not the faces
on.
that I make with my woman. Like I make because not trying to be funny, but I don't give a fuck about none of y'all compared to how I care about my woman. So whatever face I make is the face you're going to get. Y'all have that same. You guys want to have that same idea with your men, and that's the problem. Because I can't help it. Because you remember I said earlier what the difference between an excuse and a reason was. Y'all are making excuses for why your face is always fucked up. Now, Miss Mac, I understand where you're coming from because I am you. If I don't say what I'm thinking, like you can read it across my forehead, you'll know exactly what I'm thinking. The people who know me best know that if it's not about what you hear me say, it's about what my face says. Because I can have a conversation that I don't give a fuck about, but my mouth and my tone and my intonation and everything about what I'm saying will make you think that I care. But my face will let you know that I'm looking at you for real, like you have shit on your shirt. Like I don't care anything about what we're talking about, so I get you. But this is the thing, though. In situations where respect is in order, you can't do that. I'm very good about communicating with my parents. Even when they say some bullshit, I don't give them the same face that I will give y'all when y'all say some bullshit out of respect. That is the difference, and that is the deference that we're asking for from our women. Nope, I'm not even going to respond to though. All we can do is cry shit because that's just hyperbolic. But what you're saying is actually something that's worth exploring. When men say that, like, y'all, we understand your emotions, but what we also need y'all to understand is that they are your emotions. They're not ours. We shouldn't have to
Right, who
deal with
cares?
the negative ones just because sometimes we get the positive ones. So, for example, you said that, well, I can smile when I'm happy, but when I'm not, it's a problem, right? Cool. Well, we also know that you'll smile when you're not happy. We know, like, when we, hey, can we go out with our boys? You'll be like, oh, yeah, cool, go ahead. We know what that go ahead really means, that smile behind it really means. So we can't say that there's a one size fits all for these things. But now you said you can't raise your voice. I mean, Perry said you can't raise your voice. No, you can't do anything aggressive unless you want your man to treat you aggressively. So if you think that your inability to process your emotions and to comport yourself as the feminine, respectful woman that he chose to commit to, then that's again not his fault. That's your problem. Because again, just like that, your emotions are your problem as well. All you can do is expect us to consider them as long as we see benefit to it. And after a while, you being disrespectful and having that mouth and being emotionally immature and not able to regulate yourself, how many times do you think niggas are going to deal with that? This is when you start seeing husbands that need 45 minutes to sit in their driveway before they go in the house because they already have to deal with a day's worth of bullshit, and now they got to come in there and deal with your bullshit too. And if we're being honest, the majority of y'all, your emotions are based off like when y'all have these fucked up stories about what so and so did to you. We understand why they did it to you because you be dead ass wrong, but we can't tell you that because in consideration of your emotions.
Yeah, so
Okay,
you
bro.
just taught me something
Hold on, go
about
ahead.
myself. I'm not ready to date
Hold on.
because I'm not
Let
ready to
let
change
Bo get
my
in there.
facial expressions. I don't think that my facial expressions to be taken for disrespect. Is just the way that I express myself. So I guess I'm disrespectful and I just realized that. But yeah, that's just crazy. That's crazy. Because if I'm not a getting
Well, you
loud
know, commotion.
person, I don't ever bring the problems. 9 out of 10, if I'm having a facial expression, it's
Y'all
because you're
stop.
schooling me on something or you're mad at me about something. And sometimes I don't really care about it because it'd be something so little or minute that I really could care less. So my expression probably would show that I really don't care. And that's why I'm not going to argue back with you. It's not worth me arguing over. It's not worth me going back and forth with you. But if I tell you I don't care, then I'm offending you. So again, darn if I do, darn if I don't. I'm gonna just be single for a
There are
while.
certain there are certain facial
Hold on.
expressions
Go
that
ahead.
you can make.
We doing the moves. We doing the moves. Hold on. Bo, go ahead, Bo.
Bo.
Okay. Jesus Christ. And so